Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here. Welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020. Oh boy, I hate making emergency videos like this. Right, okay, so as you may have heard, the coronavirus, or now known as COVID19 Outbreak, has gotten worse in the past few weeks and months after the Chinese homestands were cancelled for Overwatch League 2020 and rearranged to be played over the weeks 6 and 7 in a special event held in Seoul. And it's getting worse now in Korea, not just China. And I know for a fact that a lot of events are being cancelled in Seoul and Korea in general. A K-pop group that I like has had their concert cancelled in March as well. If you know what that group is or who that group is, I'd be very impressed if you did know, because I don't really talk about it all that much. But there is a clue in the join trailer. That's the only clue I'll give you. But going back to the point, we had an announcement last night, just after the weekend's fixtures ended, and this is the cancellation of the Seoul Dynasty homestand in week 5. So this also means that the makeup matches that were going to be played in weeks 6 and 7 have also been cancelled. All matches in Korea have been cancelled until further notice. So we have had an announcement from the Overwatch League and Seoul Dynasty about this. The Overwatch League said, in order to protect the health and safety of our players, fans and staff, we are cancelling the plans to host our 2020 matches in South Korea in weeks 5, 6 and 7, including the Seoul Dynasty home event. We will share more info when and where the matches will take place at a later date. Seoul Dynasty said, in order to protect the health and safety of our players, fans and staff, we will no longer be holding the March Seoul Dynasty homestand event in Seoul on March 7th and 8th. We are working with the league on rescheduling these matches and will share some more information through the league when it is available. For purchasers of the March homestand, a full refund will be issued, and we will have more details on the refund process this week. We are making every effort to ensure our players' well-being and safety. Please stay safe during this difficult time, and thank you for your support and understanding. So, this, honestly, looking at the situation in the past couple of weeks, hasn't come as a surprise. It's very unfortunate. This is, again, like we said about the Chinese homestands, this is completely out of the league's hands, but they are doing completely the right thing. It is not worth going ahead with these homestand events if people are going to be put at risk. And the size of these events, you are going to put people at risk. You cannot help that. This disease has a 2-week incubation period, so you don't know whether someone might have it during that incubation period and then pass it on to other people. So this is a very good move by the league once again. It does present a very big problem, obviously, because this is when we were going to see some really interesting matches. Like, we were going to see the Spark for the first time after their homestand got cancelled. We were going to see the Hunters for the first time. We were going to see Seoul, obviously, for the first time. We were going to see Charge for the first time. And this is also the next games for, like, the Titans, the Gladiators, the Shock, the Dallas Fuel as well. And these teams, especially the Chinese and obviously now Seoul as well, the Korean team, are not going to be playing. I wouldn't imagine we'll be playing now until our week schedule is in double figures. Because, well, we've just had week 3. This was scheduled for week 5 and week 6 and week 7. So, yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and it's incredibly unfortunate that this coronavirus or COVID-19 outbreak has coincided with the Overwatch League's first season with its homestand format. It's very, very unfortunate. And to the people on Twitter replying to the announcement of this from the Overwatch League with, LA is seeming, the LA studio is seeming like a really nice thing now, isn't it? Should never have gone to the homestand format. I will say this one thing. You're idiots. I'm not even gonna, beat around the bush about this. You're idiots. Sorry, that's what I think. Because It's very early days. It's very early days, don't get me wrong. We have had a New York homestand, we have had a Dallas homestand, we have had a Washington homestand, and we've had the Philadelphia Battle of Brotherly Love homestand last week. And I think they've been overwhelming successes. I'm not going to lie, I think it has been really good. I think it's been really, really good. And I'm really looking forward to see, and no offense Americans, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited to see homestands outside of America, in Asia and in Europe. And yeah, it's not looking brilliant right now, is it? And this is always going to be, you're always going to have these outside factors that you're going to have to combat. And this is the first of probably many in the future for the Overwatch League. And I think they're handling it the right way right now. And also, to be, again, on a downer, there is a significant outbreak in Italy. And if that spreads to other parts of Europe, remember, in week 10 we go to Paris. And I would hate for anything to happen to that homestand, or the London homestand, which will be taking place at Wembley Arena in week 8. And week 8 actually isn't all that far away when we consider that we're on week 4 next week. So I hope the virus gets contained sooner rather than later. I think we all hope that, not just because of it's mucking up schedules for things, but because this is people's lives and people's health at risk, and no one wants to see this. No one really wants to see this. I mean, it's now pretty much every continent that's got a case of COVID-19 now. I know the UK's got, I think, 13, 14 cases, something like that. I might be wrong. And there's obviously cases in Europe, there's cases in the Middle East, there's cases in Asia, there's cases in America, and we just don't want to see this. And I think the league is taking the right precautions here in doing what they are doing, and considering other events are also being called off in Korea as well. I think the Overwatch League is doing absolutely the right thing. But last thing I want to discuss about this is obviously perhaps when we might see these matches held. Now, the problem is the Asian teams, so the Chinese teams and the Korean teams, were not due to fly out of Korea and China until well into the league. I'm talking like week 9, the Dallas Fuel homestand, the next Dallas Fuel homestand in April. That is when we were due to see the people like the Spark, the Chengdu Hunters, and the Guangzhou Charge move into America and have matches there. Also, we do have a San Francisco Shock homestand in week 8. This is where we'll see the Titans, the Gladiators, the Valiant, the Shock, and the Fuel, all of which are in the same division as the Chinese and Korean teams. So, unfortunately, and I hate to say this for fans of these teams in their home countries, I got a feeling that with how bad the coronavirus outbreak, COVID-19 outbreak is right now, I have got a feeling that these matches might be held in America, at the Shock or Dallas homestands, or somewhere in America, during those times when those teams are over in America. The problem is Shanghai Dragons, because the Shanghai Dragons are a big outlier here. Because the Shanghai Dragons, they were due to do their own homestand. They were due to do the games in Korea and not Korea. I don't think, just the Chinese games, the homestands. But they are not due to appear at either the Dallas or the San Francisco Shock homestands. So they are due to appear in week 10, but we don't know where that homestand is going to be held yet. So if that homestand is held in America, then it will work out for the Shanghai Dragons. I've got a feeling that they might try and arrange for that homestand in week 10. This is to go alongside the Paris homestand. I think they might organise that to be held in America and have all of the Chinese and Korean teams come over to America and have their rescheduled games then. It's very unfortunate for the fans of these teams, because obviously you want to see them play in Korea, you want them to see them play in Shanghai and Guangzhou and Hangzhou and Chengdu, obviously. But at the moment, I don't see a point at which they would be able to play those games unless we start looking at real later down the line in the league. And I'm talking like second half of the season. And I don't think we can realistically make these teams wait until well over halfway through the season before they even play their first match. I don't think that's fair. And then you have to think about fixture congestion as well. This is often a problem in soccer as well in this country, where in the lower leagues you get games called off because you've got a waterlogged pitch and stuff like that. And some teams don't have as good pitches as others. So they get so many games called off that they end up playing 3 games a week and things like that. And that's not fair on these teams. That's really not fair on these teams, not with the format of this league. So I am afraid I think there may be only one option, and that is to hold these games in NA and in America. And that's really, really unfortunate for these teams, but I think it might be best so that they don't get fixture congestion and they don't put anyone at risk, obviously, in their own countries, which we would hate to see anyway. But in terms of when we might see homestands in these countries, in Korea and in China, we were due to go back over to these countries, obviously later in the year. So after the break, so the break is week 13, we have a jump between week 12 and week 14. Week 14 is when we were due to next go to Seoul. This is in May, and then after that, we don't actually go back to China until June in week 20 when we go to Hangzhou, week 22 when we go to Guangzhou, which is July, then week 23 where we're in Guangzhou again, week 24 when we're in Shanghai, week 25 when we're in Chengdu, and week 26 when we're in Chengdu. And that is actually the last run of weeks pretty much until the end of the season. Week 27 is the last week of the season. Week 26 is the second to last week of the season, or the regular season anyway. So it will be a very long time before we go back to China if these events aren't held. So it is extremely unfortunate, the situation the league and we all find ourselves in, really, but there is very limited options now in terms of how to combat this. And I think the only solution is to hold the current games that are being backlogged in America around those times, with the Dallas homestand and the San Francisco Shock homestand in week 8 and 9. So we will see what the league is going to decide. Again, I am making presumptions here. They might decide to do a completely unique homestand thing for all of them in China or Seoul, or I say Seoul but Korea. But I don't see it happening because there doesn't seem to be a immediate end in sight for COVID-19. So yeah, this is a very unfortunate video. I don't like making videos like this. I could go out and say, "Ooh, newsflash! This is happening. This is happening. This is happening." But this is not something to be joking around with. And I think the league is taking exactly the right measures here in order to protect everyone. And let's all just hope and pray that I don't have to make another video on this, because I don't want to make videos on this and I don't want you to have to watch videos on this. But I think it's good that we address this issue, and hopefully in the very, very near future we can get back to regular scheduling and we can be rid of the horror that is COVID-19. But tomorrow the Roundup comes back for the results of this week just gone in Washington, which has been quite an eventful week. So hopefully we can get back to some really, really interesting content then. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.